I'm National Circuit. I am Cypher Knight 77.
I'm Dutch Muso.
And we're here to bring you more Gavra Racing action here at said circuit in Germany. We're not too far removed from Nürburgring, but it's still a new track nonetheless. Maybe you can tell us about it.
This is my favorite circuit of the entire calendar. So I am hoping that I can maybe share my enthusiasm with the people watching. Just maybe follow Hello Champs here, who is subbing in for Razy tonight.
Indeed, we'll update you on the driver stories as the race progresses, but Allo Champs being one of our replacements. Index is not here. We believe that Marcus is running for himself again today, so it'll be an interesting race to see.
Today you saw there on the left side there, those track limits are really tough to hold, because you really try and take as much speed through there as possible. It's genuinely an incredibly fast corner, first corner. You know, track extending there will delete your time and possibly even get you a penalty in the race. This straight here is where you really want to get the slipstream. I think we will be seeing the most overtakes done here. You might be thinking this is strange, but this is the national circuit.
Indeed, the National Circuit does cut out the right-hander further up the road, but it should help to make for quicker lap times for these cars. And so yeah, Noyens, who, if I'm correct, wasn't here last week, he's here today, hopefully to regain some more points in the championship. Hondax will be looking for a little bit of a break this weekend. Of course, he didn't have the greatest run at Nürburgring, but he'll look to do a little bit better here today, which Index isn't here. And let's see if any others to note.
You can also see how important those last two poles are. So this entire sector here, you will be getting quite a bit of tow. You really want to keep as closely to the person in front of you as possible.
Right. I should mention the track limits are definitely going to be a little bit of a pain for a lot of the drivers here today. Hockenhiem is one of the more notorious tracks for track limits. There's one. Kev Sanel, he'll be looking to do really well here today as he chases down Hondax in the championship.
Which I think he's in front of Hello Champs, yeah.
Yeah, so we expect to see times in the 125s roughly for qualifying, so it'll be a little bit interesting to see the kind of strategies that these guys decide to take for the race.
I mean, despite how many fast corners this circuit has, it's not really that big on tires. It's quite surprising for a lot of people. Kev's now get Hello Champs out of his way. It's still free practice in the moment. Hello Champs also up.
Right, indeed. The weather is looking to be cloudy with no chance of rain here today, so the drivers have been spared that guarantee. But who do you think is set to come out on top today?
Really, if I have to be completely honest, I'm hoping Cast does well, because that will really spice up the championship, because Cast does still have a chance of winning the Open Championships.
Right.
Then Razy for the rest of the season can't really do too much, and Hondax either. So if Cash really wants to stick it, he does have to really well in these last 5 races now.
Well, he'll also have to beat his teammate Kev, who isn't, well, we've seen the two of them kind of be really close to one another, not necessarily bumping heads, but definitely close rivals, so Kev is definitely going to be on the charge for this race as well.
You know, they always say your teammate's your biggest rival. You know, I think with these two, they're taking that to a very literal sense.
Right. Also to note, Joe, who was having a pretty good run last weekend with an unfortunate mechanical issue, that left his race running short. He's back here today and hopefully looking to complete the race in its entirety to make up for that. And other things of note, Mike looking to keep up the decent qualifying run, although he still needs that decent race run that I'm sure he's been yearning for as well. And I'm sure Alachamp's just looking to set some good points for Razy as well.
I mean, you know, Razy really needs every point that he can get now on Hondax.
Indeed, but we'll see if Hondax's run of inconsistency will continue for this race. It could definitely go either way at this point.
Yeah, and in the first of the season, he seemed to be so fast. You know, he had one circuit that he wasn't dominant at, and now we're seeing a very different side of Hondax. Almost seems vulnerable.
The Alien also didn't have that good of a race last week, so he'll be looking to kind of get back into the midfield, maybe even challenge for the top 5 this race as well. Jukebox and Toby also maybe looking to challenge a little bit closer. If they can get some better times in this week, it'll be interesting to see what they can do. And then Marcos and Petabib, two drivers who always seem to make a lasting impression when it really counts. So we'll see where they end up in this race. But
Mark maybe has license penalty points.
I doubt it. Maybe. But as it stands, Kev is the fastest man in practice right now with the 125.3. So he displaces Alochamps right there with the 125.5. So could even see times in the 124 if they can find a little bit more pace, although the slipstream will be very powerful here.
I mean, there's so many straights where that's really useful. Going into sector 3, we've got a corner there, but might as well be straight. Great, like you can always take it full speed even with slipstream.
Right. So it could just be a case of who gets a decent slipstream down one of these straights here that could decide pole position.
But I'm thinking for the race, this could be quite a strategic race because people might opt to actually stay behind someone instead of actually immediately going to overtake.
Right. Currently, Noyens in his return is 2 seconds off the pace. So I wonder if he's just getting used to the track. Definitely a lot of drivers still having a few issues with the curb. Either it's this outside curb in turn 1 or one of the curbs in the end of sector 3. So we'll see that play an interesting role in this race.
I mean, I'll see if I can find somebody going into the sector now. Yeah, let's follow the jukebox. As we do this right-handed now, look on the curbs on the left side there to see. It is a very small area there, and then it's dirt. And if you go on that dirt there with your right tires, you will sort of start to slip and slide and be pulled towards the left side. You'll see a lot of people sticking away from those curbs. You'll see some brave souls going over them at full speed, so it's definitely a bit of what you think you can do.
So then is the question, do we need to make the curbs bigger?
No, I think they're fine for now, but making them bigger will make them more dangerous, because if somebody then goes over it, it's going to be a bit more drastic of a slide that happens.
Definitely interesting there, but as practice comes to a close, it might be Alochamps right there in the background, just taking a small spin. Looks like no damage or anything there. He was on a fast lap, but
was being the important word there.
I was gonna say, yes, hello to everyone who's joining us in the Gavra chat. Hello to Chef as well as Index. And Yeah, I guess you were right. Marcos did have a penalty of sorts there. I forget what it was for, though. It's been a long time.
Everyone really cheats to drive as quickly as possible.
I think that's pretty normal considering the track is decently short. Let's get the live timing on to see where everyone stacks out. Hondax is currently at the front, although that might be... I'm trying to think, who's the driver in front of Hondax? That's... might be Mike, I think?
Let's check.
Yeah, I was right. Yes. So, Mike looking to be the first driver across the line, assuming Hondax doesn't... Although, Mike's going... he's not going too fast, he's definitely keeping pace with Hondax.
I mean, you know, we might actually be overseeing something that, Hondex hasn't per se gone slower, but it's actually that everyone else is sped up quite a bit around him.
Well, either way, Mike will be the first to cross the line, so we'll go on board with him to see a lap of Hockenhiem. And we'll see what Hondax does, if he can pass him, but as Mike goes across the start-finish line in around 5th gear, it's a very short run down into turn 1. You have to be very careful that your tires don't go off and hit that outside curb. And you have another short run into turn 2. Mike looks to get through it really good. You have to brake down all the way to 2nd, even 1st gear actually for Mike. Make sure not to put too much load in the rear tires so you don't spin it. And then you have pretty much the longest run of the straight here, which will shortly be cut in here to this sort of pseudo right-hand turn. And Mike does get through that really well, and then we're back onto the rest of the Hockenhiem circuit. The left here during the stadium part. Need to make sure not to run the car wide there as well, and then you have probably the second most difficult part, this fast right-hander, to make sure to keep the car steady. Mike takes a little bit of inside curb, although I think that's pretty good. And now through the left-hander, make sure to keep the car under you as you go throughout this section with the curbs and all of them. And I think that's a really good lap from Mike. We'll see where it puts him. Puts in a 1:26.4.
I mean, but while we were on board there with Mike, in the stadium section there, I did actually see that it's really on curves, so you can actually take a lot of speed from there.
Right. As everyone else comes across the line, Manic sets 1:29.7, Alien going third with the 1:28, so Mike the only one in the 1:26s, but they were able to set 1:25s in practice, so it's only a matter of time. But it seems like Hondax didn't really get the slipstream that he needed from Mike. He actually fell back away from Mike during that lap. As Alo Champs goes and sets a 1:24.9, so he is the fastest man overall as it stands.
And that's, pretty much perfect for ratings. If other champs convert this to a win, it will definitely reduce the points loss that Racing gets.
Mike is currently 8/10 up, but he'll need about double that if he wants to displace Alochamps. He's got Hondax right behind, who hasn't gone much faster himself. So across the line, Mike sets a time in a 1:25, so those still 6/10 off, and then Hondax 1/10 off of Mike. And then meanwhile, back in Sector 3, this is Noyens. He currently sits 4th, although is immediately displaced by Manic, who goes faster than him. So will Noyens be able to get his place back? as Alien also goes faster than Noyens. He comes across the line. He gets back into 5th place with a 127. Toby goes ahead of Jukebox with the 129, although Joe goes even faster. He sets 126. He bumps himself up to 4th. And then Kev only with the 131. And then Jukebox with the 130. So, as it stands now, Alochamps is looking to maybe keep up what his team inherited from Razy, actually, because Joe is also up there. And Jukebox goes and sets a 128.5, so he gets back ahead of Toby, who
Got your mics cut out. Anyways, we seem to get quite a bit of substitution from Joe. Pretty much got the entire lap. Joe going down 3.5 tenths up across the line.
sorry about that, my mic cut out. I'll let you commentate for a little bit while I fix that.
Go back now in the last sector. Just the pit entrance there. Now the stretch up to the line. Can he help his teammate get a massive time? Joe holds 4th again. Takes it back from Cass, and Alochamps goes to 10th faster. Hello, X Natty G1.
Alright, sorry about that. Hopefully we can reduce the issue there, but yeah, as it stands, it's currently Alochamps, Mike, and Hondax, the top 3. So it'll be very interesting. No one else has been able to set a time in the 124s, although Mike goes a little bit faster, but still in the 125s. This is Marcos finally out. He needs to set a decent time in as quickly as possible.
That is sort of the annoying thing with these license penalties, because obviously if he did something then he probably did deserve it, but with 25 minutes remaining, you can't really make much of a fantastic lap because you haven't really had time to practice, get to practice for the laps in.
Indeed. But everyone is out and making laps, so we could see some last lap, fastest laps here at the death of it. And here comes Marcos across the line now. And he goes 2nd. So
He's really getting some more fuel in. You can really see that he's pretty much fueled into the limit of what he can do.
yeah, he might be able to get one more lap if he's quick about it. But with Marcos now 2nd, that bumps Mike and Hondax down to 3rd and 4th, and Joe down to 5th. So Peter Bibb still yet to also set in a good time. He's currently set in 12th. He needs just a little bit more to beat Toby, just ahead of him. But a lot of drivers are going to come across the line right now to set a couple of more times.
That is quite the find it.
Yeah, a couple of drivers. I'll just list them off. Peter Bibb can't go faster, so I think he's calling it quits. Kev can't go faster as well. He's also out. Jukebox, I don't think went faster, but he'll try it again. And Toby, this might be his last lap as well. Everyone who's in the pits right now is pretty much done for now. Cass is done for now, so he stays 6th.
Hey, Joanna's in the chat.
Yes, hello from me as well. Hondax, is he currently up on his time? He's up by a little bit. This is enough to get ahead of Marcos if it stands.
He seems to keep
Jukebox not able to improve. He's done for the day. Can the Alien end his bad qualifying run? Well, not bad qualifying run, but can he get himself back up to a much better spot? We'll see from him. But Honda's across the line, only third.
He might have lost time there at stadium section, that first corner there, and left-hander.
So Honda's third, but that's still really good.
I think he was hoping for more, but
Manic,
Johanna lost where's Razy, we don't know either, but Allo Chance is filling in for him.
Yeah, Allo, who's currently in first, is subbing for Razy. Manic not able to go faster, neither is Toby. Allo's cutting it quits as well. So Alien went a little bit faster, he's in the 7th. Marcos trying a little bit more to get to Allo Champs.
I mean, he's got safety from behind. I don't think Alien or Honda is complete as well, so Alien is the only one who can actually be a worry for him. Like a quick of a lap.
Let's see as Marcos comes across the line. I don't think he got him, and no, he didn't. So yeah, very close. So yeah, as it stands, it is Allo Champs from Marcos and Hondax. I went quickly through just to kind of show, but we'll do a proper rundown of the grid as it stands. Allo Champs is subbing for Razy. Seems like that team is the best it's ever been at this part of the season. Marcos looking to do really good again. Can he set another podium in place? Hondax looking to rebound from his disaster of Nürburgring. He starts third. Mike also looking to put in another decent performance here today. Joe with his best qualifying performance. Can he seal the deal unlike Nürburgring? Noyens, he's back and ready to rumble with the best of the best. He starts 6th. The Alien looking to turn his bad luck of runs around as well. He starts 7th. Kev starting pretty far back, although that hasn't stopped Index before, so let's see what he can do. Manic starts 9th to also look to get his good run back in shape. Jukebox in 10th, far back, but not out of it by any means necessary. He's got his teammate Toby behind him in 11 to hopefully make some hay in near the midfield, and Peter Bibb rounds off the last row of the grid in 12th place.
I personally think this is going to be very interesting because I've never driven these cars around the circuit, but it's definitely interesting to me what first corner is going to be like, because I know in F1 it's always chaos.
It'll be yeah. It'll definitely be a short rundown into turn 1, so I'll just have to wait and see.
You know, that's how far it is. It's about, that's 150 board there, I think. So it's about 200 meters.
But here we are for round 8 at Hockenhiem. We go to 4 red lights. And off they go. Hondax gets an amazing start on Allo Champs. He looks to go to the inside, now into turn 1. Marcos also holding in back in 3rd. And Hondax does in fact get the lead from Allo Champs and Marcos right there in the background. That's Mike who runs a little bit wide there as Marcos looking to avoid a little bit of contact. Meanwhile, the teammates of Noyens and Cass look to go at it a little bit behind them. Small bit of contact in the midfield. Kev fighting the Alien. And Joe Black, excuse me. Joe, who was ahead of these 3 as they go slightly 3 wide. Kev, his teammate, and the Alien. Mike is fighting Joe now into the right-hander as they go 3 wide, although that is the Alien who gets in front of both of them, although they're still battling right behind them for 7th place. And there's Alien contact with Noyens. Or no, oh, okay. Yeah, sorry about that.
Oh, that is... Who is that?
That's Joe.
Oh,
yeah, Joe with the mistake in Sector 3 is spun it around, but I don't think he has any damage. He's still in it. Back up front, it is Allo Champs still chasing down Hondax with Marcos right behind him. So Hondax has found his groove again. So he's looking to take back what he lost. Meanwhile, behind them, it is Mike in 4th place, Kev in 5th place, and then Kaz and Manic behind them. Hold on, I kind of forgot. Was it Manic who made contact with Kaz? I think I said Kev accidentally. Or Alien, excuse me. Alien had a good start, although he's back down into 8th. He's currently with Jukebox and Toby behind him. He'll look to challenge him into turn 1 maybe, but up front is Aloe Champs, who's looking, he's gone a little bit faster. And I actually forgot to say at the beginning of the race, if you have a driver that you want to support, or if you just want to support us here in the booth, be sure to comment down in the chat or wherever you are to yeah, give the support to the drivers and all them.
You see Mike has got a penalty, and I think he's checking some of the first one.
Yeah, he's got a penalty, and just behind him, that's Kev, who actually overtakes Mike, going there, they're side by side, and Kev on the apron, or no, Mike, excuse me, on the apron just a little bit. Although, thankfully, nothing bad came from that. That could have gone really badly had Mike not been able to control his car. Oh, speaking of not controlling his car, Marcos, and behind him, that's Kev. Kev is in the wall hard.
Yeah, he's got suspension damage.
Ooh, Marcos really careful to defend from Mike there as they head into turn 1, but Kev getting it all wrong off the final turn. These are major championship implications for him. We'll see if the damage persists. He's currently trying to get back at Mike. And he's got his teammate not too far behind him with Noyans catching as well. Right now, Hondax and Aloe, pretty steady pace. Neither one really has the advantage right now. It's actually in 3rd that they're defending as Joe looks to get back on Peterbilt into 11th place, so good move from him as they just go off camera there. Alien looking to also rebound. He's currently at 8th, although he's got a Jukebox behind him. But definitely a lot to take in from the early stages of this race.
Already a lot of people struggling with
Right. Although I think Marcos may have just lost it off the corner, maybe just putting on the power too early. He's got his teammate right behind him, so he'll have to be careful about that.
About last corner is, if you go white there, it's not like at Silverstone where you've got asphalt there. You first got gravel, and then you've got a little bit of rubbish there. It's definitely not really something you want to try, going wide at the last corner on this circuit. You can definitely see how strong the slipstream is here, because Mike gained over a second there just on that straight compared to Hondax.
Oops. Sorry, I think I cut out there, but I meant to say that Toby, I think, had an incident in the 2nd sector there. No damage from him, but he's back going, because Joe is now up into 9th place, so he'll be looking to chase back all the positions he lost. But yeah, Marcos and Mike still having a really good battle for 3rd place. This will be really good for Mike. Oh, it's Kev in the background. Almost.
Cockpit view there again, because you can really see them how the run-up works.
Yeah, that was almost a mirror image of what he did last time. But meanwhile, Alien still trying to give chase to Manic there. He did make up a couple of spots, but then kind of lost them again. He's a little bit closer this time. And you can see just there, that's Joe who's catching back up there. He gets really close to Manic there, actually. It seems like he's got a little bit better braking than he does.
Brake pressure might be slightly higher. Those are that. Well, needs to go a lot more. Check brake pressure. You can see there on the speedo, there's no ABS enabled, so it does brake too hard. Well, those times.
Meanwhile, with Mike and Marcos, they're still really close together, and just behind them, that's Kev and Cass, two teammates who have caught closer up to them as Kev decides to pit early. So, the damage just being too much, Kev decides to pit from 5th place. So, oh, we'll see. Kev looks to already be in and out. He looks to be coming out just about right now, actually. Yeah, there he is. So maybe just a small stop and go from him, actually.
Flash and dash.
Yeah. But he finds himself just behind this battle of Jukebox and Peterbilt for 9th and 10th. So he'll have to figure out a way to negotiate past these two cars. Finally, it seems we actually have different colored cars battling for once. It'll make it... I know, it finally makes it easier to distinguish between them. As it goes side by side with Jukebox and Kev, and he makes it pretty easily around the outside. Now he sets its sights on Peterbilt just in front. Ooh, a small bump there, actually. I wonder if he didn't expect Peterbilt to brake that much. Oh, as Peterbilt runs really wide, that makes Kev go on the dirt a little bit. Oh, and he's off. Just barely misses the dirt.
That would have been a very good Sebastian Vettel here if he hadn't gone off there.
Yeah, but luckily they managed to get through. And Jukebox still trying to put on the pressure on Peterbilt. That's Toby right behind catching up. But just ahead of these guys, this is Alien and Manic still going at it for 6th and 7th. Alien's finally caught up just a little bit. So, not quite. So, right, Mike and Marco's still going at it. Very similar pace, actually. Ooh, Champs, he was a little bit slow off of that corner. Wonder if he had a small mistake there. But with Kev's early pitting, definitely we'll see how he stacks out against this, because it didn't look like Champs had a lot of fuel.
Let's check. So, yeah, he's got about half of what Mike's got.
Yeah, he's got about half of what Marcos and Mike are running, well, we know Marcos usually runs with a lot of fuel, so looking to stop pretty early in this race.
Because I do hope that Mark is actually just checking how much fuel he has. He's got just less than mine. I hope he does run all the way to the end, because otherwise he doesn't really have much of an advantage since he doesn't have that much fuel.
Right. Meanwhile, with Jukebox and Toby, I was gonna see if Kev was actually able to get away from this group, which it seems like he has not quite yet. Right, and with this group you have Joe catching up to Alien and Manic, so Joe's pace really good, so it wasn't just a qualifying pace he's got. He's got real good race pace as well to catch back up. I think it won't be too far along now that he'll be able to maybe pressure Alien, who has been on the back of Manic for some time.
He is covering this way for the incredibly long straight. You know, it's a hard braking zone as well, so you can just throw it up the inside or you can really add to it.
Ooh, speaking of which, Joe taking quite a couple liberties with the curbs there. We'll see what the stewards think of that. He lets him have around the outside, although not able to make the move stick there.
That was more trying to set it up straight here. Trying to make it straight as long as you can. Tries here.
He does look to go up the inside, not quite.
I believe it's apparently other jumps yesterday.
Oh, well, he's not too far back from Hondax, so
He's actually driving to it.
Alien lets Joe around the outside, although does he cut back once again to let him around the outside for the stadium section? And he does. So around the outside Joe goes, and he is up into 7th. So with just 15 minutes in the race gone, we'll take a rundown of the grid. So Hondax currently is still your leader, just around 2 seconds actually, so he's right there in the distance, not too far ahead. He's got around 26 liters of fuel, so he'll have to pit around the same time that Champs does, who is just behind him, not too far back. And you have Marcos and Mike still going at it, although Mike has a 2-second penalty. And then behind them, that's Nguyen slowly getting into this battle. And then behind them, that's Manic, who has a little bit of company behind him of Joe, who's looking really quickly to catch back up to him, with Alien just behind them. And then behind them, you have Kev, who's trying to catch up from his early pit incidents. And then Jukebox Hero in 10th, Obi 11th, and Peterbib in 12th after his mistake early as well. So everyone's starting to get a little bit spread out.
But Alien really making all of the slipstream that he can.
Right.
Just behind Joe as close as he can as well.
Okay, if we can go on board, we can kind of see the line that he takes in comparison. It'd be interesting to see just how much speed these guys can get down the straight with slipstream, actually.
Other with Joe's Team Racing.
Down the straight, Joe looks to have a better top end speed, just a little bit. That's probably why he's able to get away from Alien down the straight, as he just runs a little bit wide there, although he keeps it on the track. Meanwhile, back up front though, Mike has fallen off of Marcos and is maybe looking a little bit susceptible to annoyance. Not too long here, actually. So I wonder if a small mistake from him has dropped him off. You see that's annoyance just there in the background. Although Mike's penalty effectively puts him in 5th as it stands, so all annoyance has to do is stay within the 2-second bracket. But as the race continues on, maybe you have some stories about Hockenhiem that you'd like to share, since it is your favorite track.
I mean, for me, it's just my favorite because if you play F1 rank, you get this circuit. You know, you really have to make sure that you qualify either at the front or at the back, because the first corner is always such a drama.
Well,
yeah, make sure you get through the first corner well, and the rest of the race is pretty set.
well, which would you do, rather qualify in the front or the back?
I mean, it's always jokes qualifying at the back because you can see all the not so clever guys crash out at the first corner and Q2. But you know, if you really want to actually do well in the race, qualifying at the front is more ideal.
I suppose. Well, I mean, the first corner is pretty difficult anyway, so I don't know, me.
If you're qualifying at the front, you know, you obviously have to worry that something behind you might not bash into you. We didn't see that here, thankfully.
Meanwhile, Joe and Manic finally caught up to one another, so this will be an interesting battle for 6th if Joe can keep it up. Although just ahead, that's Manic quite off in the... going off to no man's land there. We'll see what the stewards say about that.
Now you can see him break early there.
You see, he's got really good top-end speed down the straight here. He's catching up like it's nothing to make a move up the inside on Manic. And that is Joe into 6th place pretty simply. Although Manic's still fighting back around the outside.
Now you can really see, you know, how Manic is great. You can see him take very different lines to Joe.
Yeah, but...
When he was on the front, he was really doing not too much to the left.
yeah, but I think Joe's got just the right amount of speed to keep ahead of him, so... looks like that might be set in stone for him for now. Now Manic's got to worry about Alien, who's still just behind him. Just a little bit. But going back to Aloe, we'll see how much fuel he has. Roughly around 13, so he should be the first person to pit for the round of pit stops, actually.
Yeah, I mean, as long as nobody gets damage or something, that should be right.
Because Kev was the first to make a pit stop, but we're not really sure if that was his one for the race, so we'll have to see how that plans out. Alien has finally caught up just to the back of Manic a little bit, although he needs to get a little bit more speed than that if he wants to overtake him.
Try for a switch really getting it going.
Yeah, it was really close there as Mike has made another mistake, because Noyans has already passed and gone. So Mike, once again, just kind of the race is falling away from him. But back to the Alien and Manic. See if he can maybe make something happen into one of the late braking corners, actually. He seems to be just a little bit better on the brakes, comparatively.
Williams also crashed that Brazil today.
I think that might be the least of their problems. But yeah, F1 practice was on maybe about an hour or so before this, so that was definitely interesting. But as Alien is making a move on Manic there for 7th place, it goes side by side. Manic leaves him the room. And that's as easy as you like for him, although Manic, does he decide to come back at him? He does, and he gets the spot back there.
If I was Aiden, I would have really just stuck to the inside there as quickly as I could. Got you one move and like uses that. Just to fight, he has to fight him again.
Yeah, just a little bit actually, as he looks for a move, can't quite get it done. Alien is definitely persisting this a little bit.
All this time, he doesn't just stick to the slipstream, he can actually save.
Ooh, his Alien runs really wide there. That's a lot of time lost from him.
Oh wait, it's Mark, Allo, and Humbax.
Well, all three of them actually. Oh, as Marcos and Allo champs, there's contact, and Allo is in the dirt.
Stewart's line was the same, but like Mark was holding his line at the same time, you can't just shove someone up like that.
So somehow, the top three were together for like a split second there.
I'm actually gonna check how that happens.
So either both Hondax and Alochamps made some sort of mistake which allowed Marcos to catch up. Because not a minute ago they were about 5 seconds apart from each other. But after that, Allo has been relegated to third, so Marcos now in second. So I wonder if the pace is slowly getting away from Alochamps there.
Wait, Allo was actually ahead of Humbax. I think Humbax made a mistake and then Allo made a mistake.
Very strange there from both of them actually. Well, so it seems like they're not as indestructible as they seemed at the very beginning of this race, so we'll occasionally check back in, but this has actually brought a couple more contenders into this. Noyens is now not too far back from the top three. He could snag a podium if things go his way. And that'll be really good for his championship hopes.
He needs that for his championship hopes.
But it seems to be slipping away for Razy's hopes as Allo is slowly falling behind just a bit. It seems that Marcos is now starting to make waves at Hondax here, as Alien's still trying to make waves with Mike. Or not Mike, Manic.
That's Mike actually goes to the pits.
Yeah, so Mike actually the earliest of the pit stops at the 35-minute mark. Likely be all gas and go pit stops today, no suspected tire changes. Tire wear isn't too bad around here, although there might be a little bit of graining on the left tires. But Honda's actually finding it a little bit difficult to get through lap traffic. He has allowed Marcos to catch back up.
Marcos actually really used both the vessels, which was pretty good. Now this tire or the rest of the lap, he should have slipped speed left. So on this one, you don't really get dirty air.
Honda's was a little close to the wall there, just before the start of the corner there. So, yeah, surprisingly, we do have a decent battle for the lead between those guys, and Alien just goes really wide there.
Way too hot there. You go wide and use a lot of time.
Mike has actually come out behind Kev, which is pretty interesting because Kev was the first pit stopper, although I'm not sure if he has to pit again. I'd say that's probably more likely than not.
Yeah, I mean, he's pretty much on the same level as Mark now.
So he'll have to find a way to make up for that loss later in the race. Meanwhile, the gap is relatively steady from the top three.
Hello, Johnson. Closing in a little bit now without support of slipstream. Just a little bit of a lock on the right front there.
They're pretty much in the equivalent of DRS range if that was a thing for these cars. Actually, Marcos is right there. He's only a move if he's daring enough. I'd say it might come sooner rather than later, actually. As Hondax defends to the inside. Oh, Marcos. Oh, this is going to be really tricky from both of them going side by side through Sector 3. And somehow Marcos gets through it.
There was contact there, so a little bit of claims going on there. But I think anyone's got damage. It's just been argy-bargy.
Oh, Hondax. He definitely... Oh, and Marcos. Marcos is in the wall.
That will be a claim, 100%.
No, I don't think there was contact. I think Alo had a bad run through the turn, but I think Marcos had it even worse because he definitely spun and hit the wall. At least I don't think there was contact. But
I saw that time get really close. A little bit further away.
But out of all of that, Alo has taken the lead, and just behind them, that's Noyens, who passes Marcos for third place. Although does Marcos come back? I'm not really sure how much damage Marcos had. Maybe just a small brush with the wall there. Doesn't look like anything too major. But meanwhile, Alien and Manic still going at it as well. Alien has actually managed to get in front of Manic while this fight was going on. You know, while all that was happening, sorry. Is that I think that's Manic coming into the, or Noyens coming into the pits. Sorry. I was gonna say Manic for some reason. Alien had actually gotten past Manic. So, a very early pit stop for Noyens is a feel sake. As here comes Manic as well.
Actually, pretty much laughing cats. No, we don't. We're so much.
As well as Joe, he's in as well. And here comes Noyens just out in front of Alien.
It's actually not too far away from Kev.
Or... Oh geez, now things are getting a little confusing. There's way too many cars with similar paint schemes. Meanwhile, through the first turn, I think someone's had a little bit of a commotion.
No idea who that is. It's Toby.
Joe, and there's a lot of drivers coming out of the pits. They were like merging along with the drivers still on track because Joe came out of the pits. He might have had something with Mike, I'm not really sure. But the entire top three decide to pit at the same time.
So they're actually in front of them all, so yeah. There was some more mistakes there. Let's see where Castle's actually behind them.
I don't think he'll be able to pass in time, though.
He might get close. Alochamp's moving now. It's incredibly close now. Cass will 100% get in front of Mark. Get on that pressure. We'll get a lot closer.
Yeah, Alo is out first as here comes the rest of the pack just behind Marcos. That's the Alien and Kev. So out of all this, Alien has yet to pit, and Kev has to pit again, if I'm correct.
Let's just check. I think I have to pit in.
Either way, all these guys are battling for the top 6 spots. Kev getting a little aggressive with Alien. He looks to the outside. Thinks better of it, although Alien runs wide and that allows Kev through. Although he'll have to... Well, since both of them have to make a pit stop, that was a legit on-track overtake. Meanwhile, Joe, who's behind... Joe's behind Mike. He actually made a small mistake there. He was catching Mike.
This is the most confusing race ever, I think.
No, it's just everyone has pitted except for Alien and Kev, who has to pit again. But everything else is everyone else is cycled out, I think. Oh, speaking of cycling out, Marco's practicing for the WRX right there. Yeah, so Alien looks like he will not get out in front of Manic, who he was battling. Looks like Manic will get out ahead of him, so Alien lost a lot of time during that pit cycle. And Joe is up to 7th along with Mike, who's up to 6th. But yes, the top 4 are still incredibly close. Actually, Alo is only 2 seconds ahead of Hondax, who has actually made a small mistake ahead of Noyens. He's very slow through the last sector. So, can Noyens fight for 2nd on Hondax?
Mark has got the biggest advantage here because he's behind all of them, so he's getting the most amount of steps.
True, but can Marcos actually pass these two? That is the question.
That is the question.
But other than that, this is the main battle on track for now, although Alo is slowly getting away, so Honda's kind of holding up this group just a tiny bit, as he still is very close to that wall for my liking. Not the greatest not the greatest run through there. The curbs kind of held him up, but unless Noyens does what Marcos did, I don't see him making the pass very easily.
Honda actually doing some quite clever steering to the left and then to the right. Quick succession. Shots all of the weight to the left side there. You do get a little bit of oversteer, which is an actually complement to understeer, so really good turning there.
Meanwhile, Kev is in the pits again for his final stop of the day. His first stop was for damage repair, but this will elevate Mike, Joe, and Manic up into the top 5, 6, and 7 if things stay put. Kev is only now coming out. Looks like the Alien will not... Right. Alien will not be able to pass Kev, so Kev stays in 8th for now. So he's got to chase down Manic, Joe, and Mike in top 5. So you have the top 4 on one end of the track, and then 5th through 9th on the other side of the track. Oh, is Marcos, is he going to try the same thing he did against Hondax? No, he backed out of it. You see just ahead of him, that's actually the battle for 9th between, or not 9th, 10th between Jukebox and Toby. So they've got a small battle just ahead of the leaders. And Alochamps has to, actually, Alochamps is, he had a 4-second gap. That gap is now only 2 seconds. So wherever the lap traffic decides to let the leaders go, could decide where they make moves. Alo has already passed Toby. Marco's still on the back of Noyens. It's honestly incredible how he didn't hit him in the back there.
This is the most infuriating thing you can have as a driver.
It's Toby getting out of the way of Hondax there. So now they have to get past Jukebox once again. Oh, that was not the greatest run, Mike, Noyens, definitely a little bit squirmish through there. As there's Jukebox who lets Alo go, and subsequently Hondax, Noyens, and Marcos. But now the gap has drastically been reduced. Alo is only a second in front of Hondax, who seemed to have been gaining that time while they were going through lap traffic. So Hondax starting to pick the pace back up a little bit. But as we reach the 20-minute mark, we once again thank everyone who's joining us here to watch these guys do what they do best. And honestly, it's really a test of determination that a driver finishes any of these races, because honestly, they honestly do put on a really good show for everyone. So just a personal thank you to everyone involved. Meanwhile, this is Kev, who has caught up to Manic. So they'll be looking at the battle for 7th place there. And just in front of them, that's Joe, who fell a little bit from Mike. Meanwhile, Hondax has caught up to Alo. He's pretty much cut it down to around 5/10. So he's in very good slipstream distance. Meanwhile, Marco's still looking for a move on Noyens. I think he was looking up the inside. Slight contact there with Noyens, actually. Very slight, just a little bit of a tap of the bumper. But Marcos is definitely hustling Noyens a bit. Both of these guys can see the leaders, but only one of them can get to them. Indeed. All these guys doing very important work for very various reasons. And they all been joining right here in the top 4. Oh, Aloe did not get a good run through turn 1 at all. Hondax, here he comes down to turn 1, side by side. Oh, and we have a car off. That is Noyens. I think through turn 1. He's got slight damage. Aloe. Yeah, Aloe's still sticking close to Hondax, but it is really unfortunate for Noyens. I think he has contact with the front of his car. He was running third, but that means Marcos is now up into third, and he might lose. He's got 25 seconds on Mike, so he could maybe do a quick stop and come back out fourth if the damage persists. Again, now coming on to the lap traffic of Peterbib. They're in 12th. But yeah, so now this has turned into a 3-car race with Marcos, Aloe, and Hondax. We'll see if Noyens decides to pit this lap. It looks like he doesn't. Looks like he's just going to stay out maybe. Just going to persist with the damages. That is Hondax off. That is Hondax, who went very wide in turn 1. And suddenly the lead is back in Aloe's hands, and Marcos is up to second.
So, quite a dramatic race.
And that's just turn 1 for you. I don't know how you can still like this track.
I love this track because keeping as consistent as you can. Even if you just take a tenth of a second slower to get a really good lap.
Oh, Hondax very far wide. Oh, he's does he have damage?
Hondax, he does.
The car does not look good at all.
For us, the right side of his car there.
Yeah, he's hit something. Whatever that may be. So Hondax and Noyens both suffering some kind of damage, although neither wanting to pit. Because these are very valuable points that Hondax needs over Razy and by extension Noyens. Meanwhile, Kev, another championship contender, is still 7th. He's still trying to chase after Joe. And then up front it is Marcos and Aloe's best chance for a win this season.
That's actually pretty much what Aloe or Razy needs now, because with Hondax slightly further away, it's better for them to use those points.
15 minutes to go, and the gap from first to second is only 2 seconds. Does Marcos have the pace to catch Aloe, or can Aloe's consistency keep him for the win in this series? And that'll be that team's 3rd win in a row, actually, if they can keep it going. Meanwhile, just behind, that's Mike and Alien. Alien took a couple of liberties with the grass, but he has, or is that Kev? Both of them, I think, made moves. Oh, Mark off in Sector 3. He's fallen back behind Hondax. So just maybe pushing a little bit too hard, and now he finds himself mired in a little bit of traffic as everything is going on at the same time now. This is why we need multiple screens. You only have the low-budget one TV set. I mean, by all means, it's incredible. The one screen, it's really good. We can see everything. But yeah, Marcos says, "Oh, is Mike?" Just gets it wrong there off of the loop there. He's got Alien coming up behind him really quickly. And he's also got Manic for company as well. Yeah, 1 second for track limits. Joe's actually gotten back up into 5th after all of that, so it'll look to be his rerun at getting his best position in a race. Meanwhile, Hondax and Marco's still going at it. They can still chase down Aloe should something happen, although they are going really close together up front. Hondax has got damage. I think he's just trying to hold up Marcos just a little bit. I know there's a lot of things happening and just... Meanwhile, you have this three-way battle for 8th. That's Manic, Mike, and Alien. Now, once again, 2 favorite people together on the track. Mike and Manic. Why is saying that give me flashbacks of 2.5 Men for some reason? I don't know, just saying their names in succession like that, it's weird. Either way, Marcos has gotten back ahead of Hondax. Although the gap is now 11 seconds to Aloe. Kev, who started to find the pace, he might actually catch Joe here by not too long, actually. So maybe he definitely still had the pace, he just kind of had that early incident there that set him back. So he can spoil Joe's day right here. It's just behind them, Mike and Alien still going at it for 7th place, although Mike still has his penalty, so Alien just has to maintain the gap, as Noyens has a penalty as well. 1 second for track limits. Although he's still got a decent gap despite his car troubles. I think that was the same damage that he was carrying, actually. It just looks worse. Meanwhile, Kevin and Joe going through turn 1 right now. Kev will look to gain the slipstream down the 2nd straight. Oh, just behind, that's Manic looking for a move on Alien. Didn't get the greatest run through turn 1. Down the inside, and Manic has now gotten into 8th behind Mike. Although Alien might be looking for a retry. He's definitely down the inside. Manic can't really stop him. Alien going down the inside. He takes back 8th. Yeah, Manic back around the outside. Alien's on the curb a little bit. He will dive it in though. And oh, he's on the, took a little bit too much curb. They're still side by side, and this is Kev looking on Joe. That's Pete a bit ahead. So he'll have to let him through. But Manic still getting overtaken by Alien again. Pete a bit does get out the way. And Manic looking, there's a slight contact. But nothing too major there. Meanwhile, Joe and Kev wasn't able to get the move, although Joe ran pretty wide in turn 1. Although it looks like he is able to keep it together just there.
Oh, by the way, you're allowed to, we had to race the races earlier, so it's 6 to 5 minutes as well in the afternoon.
Ah, okay. probably shouldn't disclose private information in the middle of a race, now should you?
Yeah, but I don't want to get maybe
Marcos only, the gap was 11 seconds, but it's only 9, so I don't think he'll be able to catch in time. Meanwhile, this is Kev on the back of Joe. Is he going to stick it in just really closely? He's peeking, or poking, I guess, the term, as Joe doesn't give Kev the right of space. Or, well, he kind of left him out of any options there, really. We'll see. Ooh, Kev really shaky through turn 1. Lost a little bit of time there. Mike actually got away from the two behind him, so actually he does stand a decent chance of holding on to 7 if Alien and Manic continue to battle. And we don't think these two will, or we don't think these two will catch Annoyance, who's still holding that damage, but he's still got a 15-second gap. Meanwhile, Kev looks again. Joe kind of holding the middle ground. Nose contact! Oh, as Kev has spun Joe and he's in the wall. Joe is in the wall hard, although they gotta get going because Mike is coming with a head of steam. It might... damage might already be done, but we'll see what happens there. Oh yeah, Joe's got kind of substantial damage. He actually doesn't pit. He's kind of holding station right there, but that's a Mike there just in the background. Joe's car looking really broken, actually. Here comes Mike making an easy overtake there for 6th place. Meanwhile, in the back with Alien and Manic still going at it. So once again, I guess I must have jinxed it, saying that Joe was going for his best finish. So I'll take the blame on that. Well, it took a long-ass time to happen this time. Meanwhile, Manic still looking again on the Alien, although looking again on the Alien as Peter Bib goes off ahead. That didn't sound right from me. I didn't know that Manic was racing little aliens as he goes up the inside. And Manic does indeed get around. Joe's still 7th, so since these guys spot, that allowed him to keep that, although he's still got Kev and Mike ahead of him. He is still in position to get 6th because of Mike's penalty. But this means that Kev, I think, will get scot-free in 5th place, although he's got a lot of his major championship rivals ahead of him. Oh, Marcos. Oh, he's going really far. Lucky to get it slowed down like that. Meanwhile, Manic and Alien still not getting away from each other. They've pretty much been close to each other this entire race. As the gap, Marcos has actually been able to bring it down to 7 seconds, but I think Aloe is kind of just saving his stuff right now. It's behind him, Hondax, who still has the damage, is falling back. He will looks to finish 3rd, and then Noyance looks to finish 4th with his damage. Behind them, Kevin Mike, Kev, he's still not too safe right now. He's got Mike there in the background. But coming at a rate of knots, it is Manic and Alien. Although they're fighting, they're still very much within Joe's range, so this isn't over yet from their perspective. As they continue to fight for the coveted 8th place, although I think it's become more about the position at this point. Meanwhile, I think Alo has roughly 2 more laps to go, we believe, at this point. Is he crossing the line now? Yes, so Alo has 2 more laps before he gets the 3rd win in a row for the team, 1st win for him, and essentially a win for Razy as well. But meanwhile, Alien still keeping up with Manic. That's Joe right in front of him. They can get 7th here if they keep pushing. But passing is a whole different issue. Yeah, he's coming out probably for damage. Although he will come out just in front of the 3 fighting for 7th. As Mike maybe looks to challenge Kev a little bit. Oh, as Joe is off in turn 1. Yeah, just a separate spin from him. Whoop! Ignore that. That was the sound of something dropping. Probably dropping the ball. Ah! Got him! Either way, professionalism aside, Mike is still on the back of Kev, although we have reached the last lap, so these guys have 1 more lap since they're ahead of the leader. Joe will not get another lap as Manic and Alien get 7th and 8th, although they still have 1 more lap.
Wait, what? No.
Yeah, that's Alo and Joe. But what a race for Alo, who, despite multiple mistakes from him and Hondax and Marcos, has come out on top. And as he comes through the final set of corners now, it will be Alo Champs who takes the win for his team, the win for Razy, and the win for himself. He wins at Hockenhiem. Marcos to come across 2nd, really solid from him as per usual, and you gotta look pretty far back to find Hondax. As Manic still getting away from Alien, although they're really close actually. Will they try to make another move, I wonder, but here comes Hondax to get a podium, but I'm pretty sure he'll take it after the run he's had. Oh, is Kev really loose? Mike still has a chance if he decides to make a run on Kev. Noyens will come around to finish 4th, so it'll be okay for his championship hopes. But looks like Kev will be the biggest loser of the championship, as Mike thought about it, although can't get it. Kev 5th, Mike 6th. Manic got away from these guys look to finish 7th along with Alien in 8th. And then the lap cars of Joe 9th, Jukebox Hero 10th, Toby 11th, and Peterbilt to round out 12th. And no DNFs or disconnections this race.
Pretty good race actually as well. I mean, a lot of action, a lot of mistakes from Honda, because really actually needed a clean run. If that was Razy would have gotten a lot of points up on him.
So yeah, as it stands, it is Aloe, Marcos, Hondax, Noyans, Kev, Mike, Manic, Alien, Joe, Jukebox, Toby, and Peterbilt to round out your top 12. Alright. So, a very interesting race all around, actually. Definitely a lot of drama for everyone involved.
Yeah, and I mean, it was pretty, it was a good first half of the race for Hondax, and then, that crash at the end pretty much ruined it for him.
Right. So, we thank you all for joining us here to watch these guys put on a good show as ever. We will see if everyone wants to do an interview this time. Thought maybe Joe would be interested in doing it. So he might have a lot of interesting things to say. So if you stick around with us, you might be able to get an interview, although there's no guarantee. Alright. Do you think you can get Joe in the chat?
See if I can.
Alright.
Just we send him an invite to the party.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I don't even have him in my access.
His username's pretty easy. It's just Joe _ Black.
Yeah, I'm going to go to my friends list. Check all the way at the bottom.
If you want, I guess I could probably get him. If he wants to do it.
I put something out on Discord. So that's if anyone actually wants to do it with you anyways.
Of course, you understand if...
Wait, can you suggest him to the party so I should be able to invite him then?
Alright, let me see if I can do that really quick. Should be relatively simple. Oh, well. That seems to be the problem here. Huh? Okay. Oh, no wonder Joe is offline right now. Or at least it says that he's offline. So that might be. We'll see. Kevsonel. You got him? Or do you still want me to suggest him?
Oh, you can suggest me.
Okay.
Okay, invite him.
Yeah, it makes a little bit more sense if we couldn't get Joe if he's not too happy about the circumstances, which we understand.
Right. We good, and you? Ah, you had a drive-thru in the beginning, ah.
Yeah. Jump to start.
Oh, we thought it was because of damage. You spun somewhere.
I didn't got any damage. Luckily.
Ladies and gentlemen, Kevsonel.
Do you got any questions, Chris or Swiftline?
Sure, I guess I'll start off with a question. Well, you obviously went to the back pretty early on, but you managed to get back all the way back up into 5th, so it must be pretty okay from you, but not okay from the championship standpoint. So what do you think you got to do going forward?
Yeah, the championship, I got really lucky in the last couple of races because of incidents with other fast people or Honda wasn't there. So I finished pretty high up in the standings because of that. And yeah, I think I will just drive and see where I end up. Probably in 4th or 3rd.
Okay.
Maybe in a battle with Cass, the teammate.
Right. You and Cass seem to have a lot of battles against one another. Is it just a friendly thing?
Yeah, apparently we are on the same niveau.
On the same level.
Yeah, that. Yeah. We use the same setup, so that's one of the things too.
Marcos, do you have any, or not Marcos? Excuse that. Dutch, do you have anything to ask him?
You know, moving into these last couple of races, do you think you'll have, you know, one circuit that you think you have a good chance at, or not really?
I have to look at the next. Those are all tracks I don't like.
Oh, Suko, Sakito,
Now Sakito is okay, but
okay.
Sugo is a nice circuit too. And Real Puna Park, I just hate it.
Well, we definitely wish you the best of luck in your endeavors. If you have anything else to say to anyone else watching.
Yeah, I in the last couple of minutes I got into an accident with Joe Black. Sorry for that.
Yeah, I saw that.
At my screen I didn't touch him. But in the first moment I was just all half next to him. In the next moment he was just, I T-boned him.
But I think also a bit of he had a little bit of understeer, well not understeer, he had oversteer because he went onto the gravel and then sort of oversteered into you, so it was just a bit of a racing incident. We'll see what the steer would say.
think I'm gonna make the claim towards myself for that.
Oh, okay.
Or one of those positions like that.
Well, you just informed Joe that you didn't really mean to do it. I'm sure he'll understand.
That was the first thing I did.
Yeah. Imagine he might not be too happy, which is why he probably didn't want to do the interview today, but, well, it's glad that we heard from your perspective involving it.
Yeah, great to have an interview with you guys.
Alright, so you're free to go if you, if you don't have anything else to say.
I'll leave. Yeah, thank you for watching, everyone. And thank you guys for commentating.
Thank you for a good race.
You're welcome. Bye.
Goodbye. Well, you heard it here first, but yeah. Oh, I guess we could do drivers of the day real quick before we go.
I mean, yeah, who would you make it then?
Probably Aloe. He drove really well today, despite everything that was happening around him.
I mean, he did maximize the mistakes of others. Really trying to get himself where he could. You know, he himself, I think he only really made one mistake, but the rest was a pretty clean and good race. So.
Right. Well, we thank you all for joining us here for the Radical series, and we hope to see you next week, where we'll be racing, where is it? Rapuna Park. Oh, in New Zealand, right?
Yes.
Well then, we hope that you all join us next time, and yeah, good night, good evening, good morning, whatever part of the world you live in, and we hope to see you next time. I have been CypherKnight77.
I've been Dutch Moose,
and we'll see you all later.